Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things Indian Friendly Voices. Uh, in the last in our series, we have seen a couple of episodes on music, on Carnatic music, on the Odissi music, and all. Like what we have been discussing, that music is there right from the beginning of human civilization, and India is a land of music. From the time of Samveda to 21st century, we have had large varieties of music. And we have had a number of composers. And today we are going to discuss about one person, the composer, whose legacy, whose impact is very deep and crosses beyond the linguistic barriers. He wrote predominantly in Telugu. He is very popular in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. And some of his impact is felt beyond the southern states also. And he set a bar so high for the composers who are going to come after him. He was born about 250 years ago. Um, and most of his compositions are permeated common life, including that of cinema in Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, everywhere. His repertoire of ragas that he set his songs, the poems that he wrote to music, set them to some kind of a tune. They are all even today, even till date, they are being sung. One immediate reference from the West we can think of is Mozart. Beethoven, only very few scholars know. Mozart, everybody, almost is part of everyday life in Europe, if not elsewhere. And we don't know, he also gave a kind of a definition for another Brahman concept, but we don't know. Many things are not, we can't relate to them. And mm, we also don't know on what context Ramana Maharshi said, அவர்கள் பாடி பெறவில்லை பெற்றதைத்தான் பாடினார்கள். Whether he had Anubhuti and out of Anubhuti he sang, or he sang and obtained the Anubhuti of Lord Rama, after whom he composed his songs. And today to discuss Tyagaraja, his compositions, and especially what came after Tyagaraja. What are the changes? What are the variants that are there? To discuss this, we have a wonderful friend with us today.
Hi, thank you, Rajmohan. And let me welcome Dr. T.R. Aravindan. Um, Aravindan, by profession, is a dental surgeon. I mean, he teaches in a dental college in Uttar Pradesh now. Now, by passion, he is a musician and a musicologist. He has actually formally done a bachelor's in music from the University of Madras. Now, he has trained under a very great musician and musicologist, Sangeeta Kalanidhi Srimati R. Vedavalli. And he's also training under Sri T.H. Gurumurthy, under whom he learns violin. T.H. Gurumurthy happens to be the brother of the very famous Ghatam Vidwan, T.H. Vinayak. Now, Dr. Aravindan has been researching the compositions and the ragas of Carnatic music extensively. He's gone to the government Oriental Manuscript Library, and through the documents, the artifacts available there, he's trying to figure out how the compositions actually sounded in the past, what sort of changes have happened to the compositions of composers like Tyagaraja and Muthuswami Dikshit. Additionally, what sort of changes have happened to the raga themselves? So ragas also evolve with time, and what sort of changes have happened the ragas with time? Putting all his knowledge in, he started a YouTube channel where he has himself sung these versions, which are as per the notation. So we will discuss with um, Arvind all these nitty gritties of how compositions change, as Rajmohan said, mainly the change of the composition of Tyagaraja Swamigal. And if time permits, we may also discuss a bit about the compositions of Muthuswami Dikshit. So how the ragas have evolved, how the compositions themselves have changed based on the Shishya Paramparas, based on the artist's preference, and so on. To discuss all this, Dr. Arvindan will, be with us. So let me give this back to Rajmohan to start the session here. Back to you, Rajmohan.
Yeah. Thanks, Suresh. Arvind, today's episode is on Tyagaraja, Saint Tyagaraja. So why don't we start with any kriti of any song of Tyagaraja? Why don't you sing just one, whatever your favorite is, only one. We'll start with that.
Or shall I interrupt here itself to just to go with the tone of the discussion? Maybe ask him to sing a song which is sung traditionally in a different Vatantaram, but the original may be different. Like, I don't know if you know Jnana Musagarada. Maybe you can start it with the uh, supposedly the authentic one. Let's discuss that later on.
Later on, we can discuss. You start with the song.
Yeah, but yeah, so that people understand what they are going
Yeah.
to hear in the future.
Shall I start with a much more familiar Kriti than Jnana Sagrada?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty familiar Kriti as Jnana
Oh,
Sagrada.
please. The
Okay.
choice is yours.
Yeah. Sri Tyagaraja Sahayam, Sri Tyagaraja Guru Padugabhyo Namaha, Sri Tyagaraja Guru Parabrahmaya Namaha. Sitam Amayam Sitam Mayam Sitam Amayam Sri Ramudu Sitam Mayam Sri Ramudu Sitam Mayam Vatatmaja Saumitri Vatatmaja Saumitri Vainadeyari Pumadhanada Kaya Bharada Guru Soda Guru Makuvo Manasa Sitam Mayam Sri Ramudu Tandi Sitam Mayam Paramesha Vasishta Parashar Narada Shaukashuka Surapati Gautamalam Bodhara Gugasanakaya Paramesha Vasishta Parashar Narada Shaunaka Surapati Gautamalam Bodhara Guhasanakaduru Dharija Bhagavata Desarunavarovare Anudharanija Bhagavata Desarunavarovare Anubharatyagaraya జోనికి పరమ బాంధవులు మనస త్యాగరా జోనికి పరమ బాంధవులు మనస సీతం అపాయం శ్రీ రాముడు తండ్రి సీతం అపాయం.
That's wonderful, Arvind. And just one request. Can you, I don't know, can you push your laptop, pull your laptop towards you? Your voice is dipping in between. Just
Okay.
so that
Okay,
nearer to, yeah. So because when you're singing, some places voice dipped actually. So anyway, thank you. So basically, like what Suresh was referring to, and I also mentioned, that yeah, there are a lot of information available about Tyagaraja, his life, his compositions, who were all there with him. But what happened after that? What, I mean, whether he had his own school, whether disciples were there, was there a Sishya Parampara, and what kind of thing? Like, I mean, one is the legacy on the impact on the common people, among the common people. That is separate. I mean, did he have his own school of music?
Before answering to this question, I just wish to see a few words about what I do, because I work because I will be quoting about these references frequently in this presentation.
Okay.
So just if I'm going to give an introduction about these few aspects, I think it will be much more useful for the audience to understand.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The changes has taken place over the last century predominantly. It even started before that, but because we do have references from various sites saying that the compositions of Tyagaraja Swamigal has undergone changes as early as in 1890. That is within 30 years after his demise. So after he attaining Samadhi. So we do not know what happened in the interim period between 1847 and 1890. 1847 was the time, January Thaimasam, where when he attained his beatitude, and 1893 was, we are able to get a first reference in the year 1893 from A.M. Chinnaswamy Mudra saying his compositions have undergone a change. So we do not know what happened in between period, because these changes tend to happen. It also happens as with any other field. Um, I think it will also continue to happen. So what we can do is we cannot get the exact way by which Swamigal sang his krittis. That is not possible, because we need to have his voice recorded, or else we should be able to learn from his own disciple who has learned from Swamigal directly. If only these two conditions satisfy, we'll be able to get the exact manner by which he sang. The exact manner here, I mean the various gamakas, how he has used or how he has moved an individual swara for his satisfaction. That is gamakas. But what we are, or what I am into, is that the raga phrases, what were used by Swamigal, what were the phrases used by Swamigal. If, for example, we are going to take this particular raga, Lalita, how he has used, how he has imagined, envisaged Lalita, what are the various phrases he used, where did he use. So these are of much more importance, because Gamaga is just a movement of a swara, and it is highly volatile. It can change from one person to another. But a swara is a constant. It just, if you are going to sing, or I am going to sing, or if someone else is going to sing, sa is going to be sa. Sa cannot sound as some other swara. So the swaras are important, and swaras that make up a raga is also important. So I am much more in, or else that is only possible now, because we can only understand the raga swarupa, raga lakshana handled by Tyagaraja Swamigal. So what, coming back to, so I am working on various manuscripts. The manuscripts that were not published, that are now preserved at various repositories. One is Government Oriental Manuscript Library, and we also have many other private collectors. They're not collectors exactly, the descendants of Mahavidwans who tend to preserve these manuscripts. So I just contact them and get the manuscripts, so that I can compare the versions. As we go earlier, say 50 or 40 or 50 or 60, 70 years back, the versions totally sound different because the music itself was different. Our music is evolving, it will evolve, and the music of the last century, at least a glimpse of the past music can be heard by some gramophone records. So these gramophone records serve as a major mark to understand our past music, how they were sung, how these krittis were sung, or how in general our music was perceived and sung. So these private collectors, not private,
That's why that is fine. That is fine. Private collector is also fine. Yeah.
collectors, they preserve this material, and I approach them and I get the versions from them. So these private collectors, they belong to either the descendants of the direct disciples of Tyagaraja Swamigal or the descendants of the musicians who have learned from these direct disciples. So as I know, uh, among the various great composers who lived prior to the last century, 20th century, Tyagaraja Swamigal had large number of disciples. His compositions were mainly propagated through his disciples.
Okay.
But the point here is we get to know about various accounts of his disciples, about his way of teaching from different sources. The one prominent source is the one given by Professor Samamurthy in his various texts. He has also written a big book on Tyagaraja Swamigal, great composer Tyagaraja. It is a series. The first series covered Tyagaraja Swamigal, wherein he had culled the information from various sources and given it in a more coherent manner. How he used to spread, how he used to teach his compositions, how the disciples learned from him. But what he has given around 30, at least 30 disciples. That is definitely not a comprehensive list. He had a vast number of disciples. Because if you are going to listen the compositions of Venkatrana Bhagavatar, who was a prime disciple of Tyagaraja Swamigal and who has learned from him for around 26 years, he has mentioned in one of his kritis that he is always being surrounded by a group of disciples. So the disciples were plenty, and his life span is very big, 80 years. He lived for 80 years. So even if he has, if even if he considers the proper career is around 50 or 60 years, not all the disciples could have been with him over the period of 60 years. Definitely, a disciple could have learned for 18 years or 20 years. The maximum acquired ticket is 26 years from Venkatana Bhagavatam. Till date, he is the one who said they have learned from 26 years. Other disciples could have been learned slightly lesser than this. So what happened if, even if we take Venkatana Bhagavatar, we can consider 26 years, what happened to the rest? So uh, he was a prolific composer and he could have composed a lot even when Bhagavatar was not in his presence, when he was not with them. In that case, how Bhagavatar could have learned those compositions? Definitely from other disciples. And the communication was not so developed as it is now, and hence there could be some gap of communication. How each disciple uh, learn a composition differ. It depends on their attitude, on their knowledge, on the grasping power. So it has various lot of factors. So yeah, not every disciple could have learned all of his compositions. He could have got some amount of composition, some corpus with him. So he could have propagated only those compositions to his disciples. But what are those compositions? Again, it's difficult. Dr. Rita Rajan has in her thesis tried to trace these few compositions, but even still, it could have been more number of compositions. But at this point of time, we cannot trace the individual composition to one particular lineage. And when we are dealing with the disciples of Tyagaraja Swamigal, we know there are three main schools. One is the Valajapet school, second is Tilastaram school, and Umayyavan school. And these schools were so fortunate that they made a name in the period of time. But actually, there were many other disciples who were so prominent. But we don't attach them to a particular school. For example, Veena Koppayar. Veena Koppayar was a disciple of Tyagaraja Swamigal, and he has learned from him, and he has also taught the composition learned by him to his son, Thiruvattu Tyagayar. Thiruvattu Tyagayar is again a composer. and he has trained a lot of musicians. So this is one particular lineage. Then Lalgudi Ramayar, uh, whose descendant was Lalgudi Vidwan.
Rajaraman.
So that lineage is it was there. And similarly, Nangavaram Nilakantayar, he was a disciple who is not known much because there were few disciples who never settled in Chennai or Tanjavur, because this Nangavaram Nilakantayar belongs to a place called as Nangavaram, which is close to Karur. So this Nilakantayar will not have any accounts saying that he has migrated to Chennai, that is to Madras. So we do not know about his disciples.
Okay.
If we need to go to Karur or the surrounding areas and then search for his disciples, it is very difficult to trace his descendants also. I have tried to trace his descendants. That is possible. But his disciples, who are all his disciples, whom they in turn taught the Kritis, we do not know. And
Oh,
there was also a school in Andhra Pradesh.
correct.
There were many disciples who are coming from Andhra Pradesh to Nagaraj Swamigal for learning many Kritis. One is such school. Then
No,
Neemam.
I think Balamurali also comes from that same
I
lineage.
mentioned that
That's
because
what-
I'll be mentioning about that school separately.
Okay, right.
Vidma Balamurali Krishna is of much more recent, last
Okay.
century musician. Uh, there was another school, Neemam Subramaniar. This Neemam Subramaniar was again a disciple. It was a small village. It is a small village which is close by to Thiruvayar, and he used to learn from him.
Mhm.
And the father of Pallavi Seshayar. Again, he was
Yeah,
with
okay.
one who has learned Nikarapati Subayar. He was called as Nikarapati Subayar. He has learned from Tyagaraja Swamigal. And Pallavi Seshayar, there were many disciples. Professor Samamurthy belongs to his lineage. So
Oh,
there are many individual pockets surrounding predominantly in Tiruvayar, but also not necessarily restricting to Tiruvayar alone. Because we
okay.
need to search in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka also. Because the Tilestan lineage, a few of them migrated to, for example, Titta Krishna Iyengar. He belongs to the Tilestan lineage and he shifted to Mysore Samasthanam, wherein he taught few disciples.
Oh, okay. And just wanted to quickly ask, this Umayalpuram school is same as the Manambuchavadi lineage, is it?
Manamuchavadi school, I meant to say about them. Manamuchavadi Venkata Subbayar he was related to Tyagaraja Swamigal, and he was the one who started this so-called Manamuchavadi school.
Hmm.
And Manamuchavadi Venkata Subbayar is said to have been born around 1800s, and he has learned from Swamigal for around 20 years or so. So as far as we know, Venkatara Bhagavatar, Valajapati Venkatara Bhagavatar was the oldest disciple of the lot.
No.
Ramamurthy describes about the disciples. He also mentioned about Tanjavur Rama Rao, who was a disciple
Ah,
much more older than Venkatara Bhagavatar. Again, we do not know the disciple lineage or even the descendants of Tanjavur Rama Rao.
no, sir.
I just keep a request. If anyone who sees here know this disciple lineage, please let us know. Let me know, because it will be of much use to us in understanding the case of Tyagaraja Swamigal. So Manamuchavadi school, again, that each school also has some unique feature. For example, Umayyapuram school. Umayyapuram school was headed by Krishna Bhagavatar, Sundara Bhagavatar. They belong to a place called as Umayyapuram, which is much closer to Tiruvayar. These disciples, they used to come on and off to Chennai and perform Margari Mata Bhajana. So many of the disciples of Krishna Bhagavatar and Sundara Bhagavatar became famous later. They shined as a good Kacheri Vidwan, predominantly because of their stay in Chennai. I would say this as a very important reason, because Chennai was developing, the zamindari system was almost going to extinct at a point of time, and then they need to have some support. Chennai served as a good center, Kendra, for spread of the music, and then they all settled here. Many of the not Krishna Bhagavatar Sundara Bhagavatar, their disciple lineage. So this is with respect to Umayyapuram school. Manamuchavadi school has given rise to many good composers. Manamuchavadi school, Venkata Subbayar has got many prominent disciples. Mahavadhyana, he was a
Correct.
disciple of Venkata Subbayar.
Patnam Subramanian was it?
Venkata Subbayar. Then Patnam Subramaniar. Patnam Subramaniar disciple was Puchi Srinivasa Iyengar.
Correct.
Srinivasa Iyengar Arikudi Ramanujayengar and his lineage.
And then also Mysore Vasudevachar, right? Patnam.
Yes, Mysore Vasudevachar. Yes, but I'll just come to that point later. And then Balamani Krishna's guru was Ramakrishna Pantulu, and his teacher was Susarla Dakshinamurti Sastri. He was disciple of Manamacharya Subaya.
Oh, okay.
So Balamani Krishna was much a recent musician. He lived with us, right? He just
Correct.
the last century, but his
Lineage, I'm talking. Yeah.
was disciple of Venkata Subaya. But what I feel is, we out of affection we can say that I belong to the 6th lineage or 7th lineage or 8th lineage of Tyagaraja Swamigal. But in reality, how much we imbibe the knowledge of Tyagaraja Swamigal alone is a question. Because the period of Tyagaraja Swamigal can be, or he is definitely was ruled by the British, and they were kings like Sharfoji or his son. There were many vassals. They were not proper kings. But what happened after that is that the patron was mainly, or patronizing the arts was mainly taken care by the zamindars. After that period, the kacheri format came in. Once the kacheri format developed itself, it posed a new challenge to the musicians. They need to learn a lot of compositions, because predominantly before the period of kacheri concert format, they were singing mainly the Ragam Tanam Pallavi. Ragam Tanam Pallavi was the forte of these musicians. They also sing the kirtanas, but Vidwan used to show his talent only by or only through his Ragam Tanam Pallavi rendition. So that played a very important role. But as the kacheri developed, as the responsibility of patronizing an art got transferred from the zamindars to local public, the kacheri, the musicians are forced to design the kacheri in a more Janaranjaga format. Not all musicians, not all public or the lay people would have been knowledgeable to enjoy a Ragam Tanam Pallavi. They need to get entertained for them to support. How it was done mainly by including a lot of kritis. The kritis of Tyagaraja Swamigal were more enjoyed by both the lay public and musicians because of its language. Telugu was a much more common language in Tamil Nadu, and even now I used to see a lot of manuscripts written in Telugu. Predominantly they were written in Telugu.
Okay.
Those that were written before 1940s or 30s, they were predominantly in Telugu. So this language. And second thing, the fluidity of his compositions. His compositions were all so fluid. They give space because of less of Sagityakshara. In compared to Dikshitar, these Sagityakshara's was much more placed leisurely so that they can elaborate. They can add Sangati if they want to. They can do Neraval in a suitable line. So these advantages made the musicians to go in for the credit of Tyagaraja Swamigal. This faced a challenge. As I told earlier, not all disciples were knowledgeable of all his kritis. We do not know how many kritis were learned by individual musicians with that disciple, but we can definitely say that not all were known to all. And now we are now in a period of the first part of the last century, when the kacheris begin to flourish.
Dominate, yeah.
So the musicians were forced to learn more compositions. How they can learn? We had good composers like Puji Srinivas Iyengar. Later in the period 40s, Papanasam, but before them, we need to have some good compositions. So they were forced to learn many Jagajakritis, and out of interest also. Two reasons. So many of the Vidvans approached the descendants or disciples of the direct disciples of Tyagaraja Swamigal. They started to learn the composition from them. So the primary first disciples, they could have not been alive at that point of time. Few could have been, but not all. But the disciples who have learned from them, the primary disciples, they were very much alive. And these musicians were many of them were musicians, many of them were teachers, good teachers, they approached these musicians and they started to learn many of these compositions. So what happened in the early part of the last century, the disciple lineage, the unique features tend to get faded out. This was much more explained with a good example by Dr. Rita Rajan in her thesis. She has done a very honorable work. It's a very huge work. That too in a period when the telecommunication was not much developed. I am saying in the 80s, 1980s, when she used to say that even the Xerox machine was not available
Easily. Yeah.
easily, yes, at that period of time. So at that point of time, she has visited many places and interviewed many musicians and got few details. And she has given a very good information that the Umayapuram school, which was founded by Krishna Bhagavatar and Sundar Bhagavatar, and in their lineage, disciple lineage, came a good Vidwan called as Umayapuram Swaminatha Iyer.
Hmm.
Swaminatha Iyer has also learned from Mahavaidyanath Iyer. So now itself, there is a mixture of two traditions. One is the Manamuchavi tradition through Mahavaidyanath Iyer, and second is Umayapuram tradition through Krishna Bhagavatar Sundara Bhagavatar. So Swaminatha Iyer used to learn many compositions from Tilesthanam Narasimha Iyengar, Narasimha Bhagavatar. Tilesthanam Narasimha Bhagavatar was a disciple of Tilesthanam Ramayya. Tilesthanam Ramayya was a direct disciple of Thiagaraja Swami. So I'll just give one example wherein you can see a mixture of three different traditions, even as early as 1910s or 1900s. Another example is S.A. Ramasamy Iyer. S.A. Ramasamy Iyer was well known among the musicians. He was not a performing musician, but he was well known for his rare kritis, his repertoire. His repertoire predominantly consists of rare kritis of Thiagaraja Swami. For us, for example, if I'm going to say Paraku Jesina and Dujahuli, anyone can search in net. They can get the Sahitya. They can get at least one recording for majority of the kritis. But in 1910s and 1908s, not many were aware of these kritis. At that point of time, he was much equipped with these rare kritis like Paraku Jesina or Sri Janakatanaye. I'm just giving some random examples. I'm not saying he would have learned these compositions. I'm just giving some rare examples of the kritis that even now are rare. I could see his manuscripts thanks to the Music Academy and the secretary Sri Sriram for allowing me to just peruse the manuscripts. I could see a few of the kritis that formed this repertoire, like Yajnadulu in Jayamanohari.
Okay.
Many kritis. Again, Paraku Jesina. These kritis he has written in notation. So he has learned from two sources. The primary sources, Valajapet Krishna Sai Bhagavatar, who was a disciple of Thiagaraja Swami, and also he was a disciple of Venkatramana Bhagavatar. His father was Venkatramana Bhagavatar. So father and son has learned from Thiagaraja Swami. Krishna Sai Bhagavatar has taught S.C. Ramasamy Iyer. S.C. Ramasamy Iyer also has learned from Krishna Bhagavatar Sundara Bhagavatar. So again, a mixture of tradition. But the manuscripts of S.C. Ramasamy Iyer available with us, we can always compare with Valajapet versions, and then we can at least decide the kritis learned by him through this lineage and to the other lineage.
Yeah, Arvind,
1 minute.
Just sorry to interrupt you. I mean, okay, now you mentioned there are many disciples, not merely 30, and most of them always be around Tyagaraja. Okay, you talked about mixture of tradition and all. I leave that to Suresh. Suresh will ask, one is the emergence of schools out of direct disciples and the emergence of certain traditions out of this mixture of traditions that, I mean, all that, what kind of schools emerge, that Suresh will ask now. But the point is, I mean, if this, within, let's say 1847 or let's say 1850, he attained Samadhi, he left his body. So within 150 years, if we have to see so much, you mentioned two criteria. One is that, okay, you mentioned two criteria for ascertaining the validity of whether it's original Kriti or not. Okay. Now, if this being the case, today in 2021, how are normal people to decide? Is there anyone who has, who was made separately without being untainted by any of these mixed traditions and all that? Is there any book like that?
No, actually, I never mentioned the criteria for ascertaining the authenticity. I'll just include it now.
Yeah.
To ascertain authenticity, what I keep as a benchmark is that a version, a kriti, has to have a same version notated by two primary disciples. That is, two disciples who has learned from Swamigal directly. I feel this could be the first benchmark to ascertain the authenticity. But this is not possible. We have one version, Balaji Venkatana Bhagavatar version is available. The manuscripts are preserved in Saurashtra Sabha Library, Madurai. The transcripts are available in GOML, Government Manuscript Library, Chennai. And they are also placed in Dr. N. Ramanathan sir website, www.musicresearchlibrary.net. That site has these transcripts. So anyone can have a look of these manuscripts. But again, we need, see, for me as a person, as a lay listener, as a Rasika, I have my own preferences. I like Venkatana Bhagavatar. So I would feel that his versions are authentic. But as a researcher, I cannot say that. I will not trust my views as my research views. My views are different. When I'm going to do a research, my views will be different. My views will be much more objective when I do a research. So what I feel is, though I personally feel Venkatana Bhagavatar, his versions are more authentic. As a researcher, I never mentioned that anywhere. I never mentioned till now that what I am singing is the original version. I won't even use the word authentic version. These are the old versions. Because as a researcher, I should not give some misdirections to other. I should not hinder others doing much more research on this topic. So if I'm
Sure.
going to get one another version from a direct disciple giving the same version, I would definitely confidently say this is going to be the original version. But till now, it's not possible. But for few kritis, I was able to identify original versions. It is because these versions or these kritis have has the version as a same version notated by different musicians who lived at different places at different point of time.
Okay.
So time is different, place is different, musicians are different, the lineage is different. So still they have the same version. So these versions I decide to be the original versions.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you,
Because
Suresh. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Suresh will take it up. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Suresh.
So first, before we go into deciding on the original version, one more, I would like you to see if you can sing one more kriti at least to the Anupallavi level. Basic idea here is the first kriti that you sang, we'll discuss again as to what is the difference that was there, and so that. The other thing is, which I wanted to ask you now, to sing a kriti, if you know, a kriti which is available in only one disciple thing. There are some kritis I'm told that only Tilaisthanam has. Maybe some kritis only Valajapeta has. So any one kriti which is available in one parampara, you sing, and then we will continue this one. At least a brief. Uh,
um, Dr. Rita Rajan has traced few kritis, as linked few kritis to particular parampara. But for example, Nide Galgude, she used to say that this is available only in the Muyapuram parampara,
okay.
and I have not seen the Kriti Nide Galgude in any other manuscript.
Hmm.
But the thing is, for example, I am much more into the Valajapet manuscripts, and I'm just taking that as an example. The Valajapet transcripts that we have has been copied. I was told it was under the instruction of, at the behest of Sri Samamurthy, that it has been copied in 1950s. I'm not sure, I was told like that. But any which way it was copied. The transcripts do not constitute the entire amount of the manuscript available.
Oh, okay.
So by saying this, I just make a point that the compositions that are seen in this transcript are not the only compositions that were known to Valajapet disciples.
Okay.
It is not a complete set. Second thing, the manuscripts. The manuscripts also, we are not sure how many kritis were notated by Venkatramana Bhagavatar. He has notated. His son has notated, yes. But how many kritis? We do not know. In such a case, how can we even direct, or how can we even say that these kritis were known only to this particular parampara?
I see.
What say? We can place a bracket that at this point of time, with the level of available knowledge, at this point of time, these kritis were known to this particular parampara. Like that, we can say.
Hmm.
For example, she's also mentioned, if I'm not wrong, Sri Rama Padama, Kriti Sri Rama Padama, Mama Sartham were all known only to Vadadapat disciples. She has mentioned this, if I'm not wrong.
Hmm.
But till now, I have not seen the Kriti Sri Rama Padama in this transcript.
Okay.
Again, in the manuscript, it could have been there. I'm not sure. It could be there. They're not allowing us to see. No, we're not allowed to see these manuscripts. We do not
So
know what
where are they kept? The original manuscripts of
Savar Sabha Library,
which one?
Madurai.
Oh,
Saurashtra
Madurai. Oh, okay. Saurashtra
They
Sabha.
belong to the Saurashtra community, and
Oh, okay.
his manuscripts were taken by the Saurashtra Sabha members
Hmm.
and are now preserved in the library in Madurai.
But nobody is allowed to see them, is it?
Ippo, when I
Okay.
approached and few others approached, we were all given the same response that we cannot see the manuscripts, but
Oh.
they have been reports by various researchers that uh, they were allowing the researchers to see. For example,
Okay.
William
And
Jackson has written a book on Tyagaraja Swami, his,
hmm.
his philosophy and his kritis. He,
Correct. William Jackson. Yeah.
he was able to photograph some of the manuscripts in 1980s,
Hmm.
and he shared me those manuscripts with me. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
able to
And
see the manuscripts,
these were palm leaf manuscripts or paper?
leaf and paper,
Oh, okay.
both.
Okay.
So I should thank William Jackson for allowing me to see those manuscripts, at least the
Okay.
photographs.
Okay.
To,
So,
if I want to say the few kritis which are at least at this point of time, which we are able to ascertain they are available only with the Vardhavat Parampara, is the kriti Kalasha Vardijam in Ratnangi,
mhm.
Ganamurti in Ganamurti.
Hmm.
Now Ganamurti is very much popular, but
Hmm.
it could have been known only to Vardhavat disciples.
Okay.
Even this I have a doubt, because I was able to see this Kriti, Ganamurti, Karashavardijam, Sudhamadintu in a manuscript written by Melakaveri Ramurti. It was written
Okay.
before 1950, and he was a disciple of Umayabram Venkatramaiyer, who was a disciple and a descendant of Umayabram Swaminathan.
Oh, okay.
Who Swaminathan is. So Swaminathan descendant Venkatramaiya's student was Ramurti, Melakaveri Ramurti. He has
Mhm.
written a manuscript wherein he has written this Kriti. The version is
Okay.
different, and I was
Okay.
also able to see these kritis in a manuscript by Kumbakonam Vishwanath Iyer.
Okay.
Brothers, they are much popular brothers in 1940s, and one of the brother has written notation, Vishwanath Iyer. He has given this kriti. So
I see.
I do not know how many kritis we can even link, but this Kalashavadijam, the version is different
I see.
between the Balajabat version and the Umayabram version. And I
Okay.
need to
Now,
say a point here, even among the disciple who belong to the same lineage, we could see a lot of differences.
yeah. Yeah.
For
So,
example, I think I was expecting a question from you all. How just 250 years from the BTT of Swamigal, how or why are we seeing so many chairs in the composition of Tyagaraja Swamigal? I was expecting this question from you all.
yeah.
So the thing is that even within the disciples who belong to the same Sishya Parampara, we could see a lot of differences.
Mhm.
Actually, the disciples of Umayabam lineage are much easy to identify because they were many in number. One, they all trained a lot of disciples, Umayabam lineage. And second thing, many of them settled in Chennai. And third thing, many of them were also good performing musicians and teachers. Because
Correct.
these three reasons, we tend to get more amount of the Umayyapuram school, this thing.
Correct.
But as I was about to say, as we come to third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation, it's like the electron and the nucleus. As we go away from the nucleus, the attraction of the electron towards the nucleus gets reduced.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
something is clear. The adherence to the original Padantaram becomes less as we go towards go away from the
Correct.
because of various reasons again. So as we go close to him, the possibility of identifying a proper version is high, or the original version is very high.
Correct.
Why
Yeah,
I'm saying this,
as you said, Umayalpuram school had a lot of popular musicians like Vishnath Iyer and then Semmangudi
yes,
Srinivas Iyer,
somebody should
and and
many,
and
many.
and the whole, and Semmangudi himself has taught so many, and then P.S. Narayan Swami has again
Their
taught.
disciples.
So the huge tree is there. So what I wanted to check is, do you think there are some distinct features of Shishya Parampara? So let's assume, let's take a Kriti which has come unchanged for at least 2-3 levels, right? A modern day, everybody learns from everybody. So somebody like from Swaminatha Iyer, Vishnath Iyer to Semmangudi, there's one Kriti has come. Similarly, for another school, it has come from, say, Tillai Salam Ram Bhagodar to his sons to Dr. Srinivas Iyengar, I think is it. So their disciples to come. Do you see what sort of any stylistic variations in this kritis, or other totally sort of structure is different, raga is different? What happens in these cases where we are, see, for example, if you take in the same patantaram type of kriti, the kriti structure may undergo a bit change, but the raga remains the same, right? The raga doesn't change. But if it is across disciple lineages, what happens?
You can see, you name a change, you will see.
Why don't you just, as Suresh requested, why don't you just sing, and so that lay people
Yeah,
who are...
let's take this first two requests to you. One is explain that first thing that you sang, right? What is the original kriti? What is changed? Which parampara sings with kriti? Second, my request is again the same one I requested earlier, Jnana Musagarada. So you can sing both versions to show people how the change has happened.
Yeah, that is better. Yeah.
The first thing is Lalita. I sang the kriti in Lalita Raga. So when we
the original is in Vasanta, right?
now it is sung in Vasanta. My teacher alone sings in Lalita.
Correct. I know that. Yeah.
I don't know anyone else singing Lalita. They might be, but I do not know. It's sung in Vasanta only. Whenever we see any old text, we see the raga of this kriti as Lalita. We not, the probability of us seeing a Vasanta is very rare.
Okay.
And manuscripts also, as we proceed backwards, we see only the raga of this kriti mentioned as Lalita. But there's a problem here. The understanding that our musicians had about these two ragas differ a lot. Now, what we consider Vasanta as a raga Ejanya of Suryakantam, having sa ga ma da ni sa ni da ma ga ri sa. This is the Vasanta scale. Usually, we just and the Swarasthanas that Vasanta take. Lalita sa re ga ma da ni sa ni da ma ga ri sa. This is the Vasanta scale. So Daivata differs. Daivata, Vasanta takes the bigger Daivata, higher Daivata, and Lalita takes the lower Daivata. Though Vasanta does not, the Arohana, so-called Arohana does not say it has Rishabha in the Arohana. We do find Rishabha phrases in the Arohana also. We find Sarisa, Sarigasta, all this kind of phrases in Vasanta also. The actual difference lies with the phrase Sarigama. The phrase Sarigama is seen only in the Raga Lalita. It is not seen in the Raga Vasanta. Wherever you see, if it is going to be genuine composition composed in the Raga Lalita, it must have, or it will have, it should have the phrase Sarigama. The same with Hiranmayu Lakshmi of Mutswami Dikshit also. In the Charana of the Kriti, Sita Mayama, which I have sung, there comes a phrase Sarigama. Daraguka, Daraguka Sanaka Dulu Sarigama Dama. Angavandru. So Sarigama phrase definitely comes. So the Sarigama phrase actually decides, for example, if you're going to determine a raga by seeing a notation alone, whether it is Vasanta or Lalita, we can identify Lalita if we see Sarigama. Definitely, Vasanta will not have. This is the uniformity which is seen in all notations. But what the actual confusion is that many of our musicians called Lalita as Vasanta and Vasanta as Lalita. So this confusion was there.
Just added confusion.
And
Okay.
I have seen a manuscript wherein it is written Vasanta is Janya of Malavagoda and Lalita is Janya of Suryakanta.
Suryakanta.
So Lalita must take the higher Daivata, and Sitama Mayama he has rotated Lalita. So even though he calls it as Lalita, his version is today's Vasanta.
Okay. Okay.
So these kind of confusions are there.
Okay.
I think I'm confusing. Just make it more clear.
No, I can understand this Lalita Vasanta confusion because of the fact, as you said, could be the nomenclature issue and it's because of the Daivata issue and this thing. But let's take, if you take Jnanam Musagarada, there's no real connection between, say, Puri Kalyani and Shadvita Margini, which are quite different, right? Very distinct ragas, unlike Lalita and Vasanta, which you can get confused. I mean, a very normal person initially will get confused. But Puri Kalyani and Shadvita Margini, you cannot get confused. So how did this sort of change happen, where such a drastic change happens?
Yes. Shall I complete this Vasanta this thing? Some
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Because so this is the point. This is the main point. So, which classification should we use? We have to say Lalita as a Janya of 17 and call this Kriti as Lalita, that is in Vasanta, or you should keep Lalita as a separate raga, Janya of Malavagoda, taking lower Devata, and we should sing the Kriti in the original Lalita. Because why I'm saying this is, Lalita has a textual reference. At least from the period of Shahaji, we have a continuous tradition of how Lalita was perceived by our ancestors. Lalita perceived by Shahaji, who lived in 17th century, or Tulaja, who was just a successor of Shahaji and his brother, or same. They have perceived it similarly. Their Lalita is the Hiranmayam Lakshmi Lalita with a lower Devata. And Subramanian Dikshitar has clearly said, given the Lakshana of Lalita, and he has quoted, even Venkatamaki has mentioned Lalita, he has Gita of Venkatamaki there. And everywhere you see Sarigama phrase. Sarigama phrase is there throughout. So, Subramanian Dikshitar has given Hiranmayam Lakshmi as Lalita with proper lower Devata and following the norms of Shahaji and Tulaja. So Tyagaraja Swamigal also lived during that period, slightly later, slightly posterior, in later part of 18th and early part of 19th century. So now we believe there exist two schools, Tyagaraja school, Dikshita school, Samit action. I'll take this opportunity to explain both belong to the same school, because the version which I sang has Sarigama phrase. This version can be seen in the site maintained by Sir Ramanathan Sir. This Kriti is there, notated there. Anyone can check it as Sarigama phrase. And you cannot identify any phrase, any Kriti in Vasanta having this phrase Sarigama. It cannot happen. So this was actually composed in Lalita. In a sense, if you're going to believe the Venkatara Bhagavata's legacy, we can definitely consider this version could be original. Again, I place it open. I'm not saying it's original. This old version, according to me, because I'm now talking as a research person, and anyone who wish to believe Venkatara Bhagavatar, who can definitely, if anyone goes through his life and the way he notated, they will definitely get a very good impression about him. In that instance, if this is supposed to be the original version, it was composed only in Lalita, the raga which takes the lower Devata, a Janya of 15, which was much more similarly handled by Muthuswami Dikshidhar and Venkatamati, who's much more anterior to him.
Correct.
So this is the case. Like, I'll give one more example. Thiruvettu Tyagayar has given a has composed that Varna. I think it is Shruta Praya. That Varna is given as Lalita, sorry, Vasanta. But he says this Vasanta Raga has Shuddha Devata. He specifically says. And that Varna has Sarigama phrase. So actually, he was calling Lalita as Vasanta. In contrast to some other musicians whom I have quoted, that who considered Vasanta as Lalita. So both sides we get to see these things with respect to Lalita and Vasanta. Shadvita Nagini, Jnanam Sagrada, it's a puzzle to me also. Actually, what is known is there are two versions. One is Puri Kalyani version and Shadvita Nagini version. I can confirm this Puri Kalyani version is not original version. Confirm. Because of the Lakshana of the Puri Kalyani essayed in that Kriti. The Puri Kalyani Raga was much more grand during the period of Tyagaraja Swamigal. It also has and the phrase in the this is the Kriti in Paripurna Kama in Puri. It has a phrase Gapadasa. Sadasa. You can see this Gapadasa or Sadasa in the Varna by Sonti Venkata Subaya. Sonti Venkata Varna Sonti Venkata Subaya. Mutsava Diksha compositions and any composition of Subramanian Dikshidhar or Ramaswamy Dikshidhar, you can find all these phrases. Gapadasa. In Puri Kalyani, even a relatively recent Varnam composed by Nadamani Pandidar, who lived in last century, has composed a proper Puri Kalyani. The Puri Kalyani, what we see is an abridged version. So the Raga Lakshana that we see in this Jnanam Sagrada is definitely later one. It is not an original one. And there was also a version, I will say a reason why this Puri Kalyani version cropped up. There was a version for Jnanam Sagrada in the Gamanashrama. This is not, there was a version there. This version was mentioned by Tilasthan Narasimha Iyengar, I told about his lineage, and his brother Tilasthanam Panju Bhagavatar. Tilasthan Narasimha Bhagavatar and Panju Bhagavatar were brothers, and this Panju Bhagavatar's notation is with us. At least a segment is with us. It is again placed in Sir's site, Ramananda's site. Anyone can check that. That version, that notation has Jnanam Sagrada in Gamanashrama.
Okay.
So this Gamanashrama could have been morphed into Puri Kalyani. Because there's a very subtle difference between the word Puri Kalyani and Gamanashrama. Gamanashrama is a plain scale. It can go from Sa to Sa. Sarigama Padani can go. Puri Kalyani had a phrase, Sarigama Padani. It had a phrase. So the Gamanashrama version could have been mistaken as Puri Kalyani and later morphed to or changed, mutated, corrupted to the present day Puri Kalyani. That could be the history of this. But why Puri Kalyani and Shadvita Margini, I do not know.
Okay, now Shadvita Margini, how do we get to know about it? Now you said the Puri Kalyani, assuming it's a Gamanashrama variation. Gamanashrama to Puri Kalyani is not a big leap, right? Because that's Sampurna Raga and then this is not Sampurna. But Shadvita Margini, how do we get to know from which school do we get to know Shadvita Margini? I
refuse to sing Shadvita Margini version because of the reason I was unable to see that Kriti in the Valadepet transcript which are available to us.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure about the Valadepet version, but there is a mention that it was composed in Shadvita Margini. I'm sure.
Where is that mentioned?
In the transcripts available to us.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that the Valadepeta transcripts have a mention that it is Shadvita Margini.
Yes.
But you do not know the notation.
Yes, I didn't get the notation.
No, but which disciple school sings Shadvita Margini?
The first textual source to say as a support the Shadvita Margini comes from A.M. Chinnaswamy Mudaliar.
Oh, okay.
He has published in the year 1893 and he has given mentioned that the raga of this Kriti is Shadvita Margini.
So 1893 itself.
1893, yes. He was the first person to mention, even to speak a word that the Kritis of Swamigal has underwent a change.
Oh, okay.
we get to see many voices later. 19th first half, century first half, we get to see many voices, but he was the first one to record. He mentions, and in Sudesamitran, from 1930s, early part of 1930s till 1950s or 60s, we get to see many kritis of Tyagaraja Swamigal notated in that weekly Sudesamitran. There you have two versions. One is Shavidamagni version, another one is Puvikilani version. We get two versions there. But as early as 1921, K.V. Srinivas Iyengar published. He was perhaps the first one to publish Shavidamagni version in notation.
Okay.
He was the first person, perhaps.
Yeah. I know there was one book of Kalluri Veerabhadraya also in Telugu. Was that a notated book or is just a text?
It's not a real book.
Oh, it's just a text, is it?
Text.
I see. Now, I also wanted to ask you one more thing. The raga variations are there, like we discussed a few of them. There are some more I know for sure. There are there kritis tala variation? Why I asked this is, I remember one Legdem on Prahlada Charitram kritis, so done by Dr. P.S. Narayan Swami and his disciple. So they sang one Kalyani kriti. I keep forgetting.
Kamala Bodu.
Vachunu Hari Ninnu Chuda, Mechudu Hari Ninnu Chusi. And I think that sang in the Tishanadai. And Seshagopalan was that time, I think, the Sangeeta Kalanidhi designate. And during the final discussion, so he asked, from what I see, this must be a Rupaka Tala Kriti. Why is it being sung in a Tishanadai Aditalam? So there seems to be something like some have happened to Samashastri Kritis. I think Tali Ninnera also that sort of thing happens. And I heard the same thing. Probably was this Naradundu Gadale, that Panturali Kriti. I think either that or this Kalyani Kriti, one of them was sung, which had this sort of a tala change. So this sort of tala change, has that also happened with Tyagaraja Swamigal Kritis?
Lot of changes happened. Many of the kritis in Mr. Chapu were composed in Triputa.
Okay.
Namdupai Palikiru is, you can always see the tala of this kriti as jump in older text annotation.
Okay.
It has Kanda
Chapu is now
very there in older text and manuscripts. Very rare to see. You can see, but it is very rare. It is always given as jump. Similarly, with the Triputa is A. Ramuni Namitino. For example, this A. Ramuni Namitino, that kriti, I have not seen the kriti in notation in the transcripts, but I happen to get it from some other source. I mean, from S. Ramasamaya, yes, from his notation I got it. The thing is that kriti is unique in such that, in a way that an episode either from Ramayana was mentioned as a whole without any break, as a single stretch. So if you're going to sing in Triputai, it's much more suits. Ekantamuna Sita, Jogorchito Gota, Kakasurudu Jayu, Chikaku Saidu, Shokamadi Daye, Leka Panamu Jesi, Eka Akshuni Jayu, Saketa Padigana. He mentioned about the Kakasura episode. Once Sita, Sri Ramachandramurti was lying on the lap of Sita Devi, a Kakasura came and he just injured Sita Devi. He got angry and just
the episodic event,
that episode was completely mentioned. Similarly, the same kriti has also an episode to Sugriva.
Correct.
Vibhishana.
This has multiple charanams,
Durbhashan, Vibhishana, Gohinch Charana. Vibhishana came to you as a refugee and you gave him the abhaya. He mentions, he explains the story. So, Andamari Kritila, it is better to explain in Triputa Tala because it missed up on tak and the so what happens is that the story, the emotion of the story is better conveyed. At least to me, I feel it is better conveyed if you sing it in the Triputa Tala than in Mr. Tala. And wherever you see a mention of only Triputa Tala there. But the thing here is, whenever you are going to see many the notations, even though they are mentioned as Triputa Tala, they would have noted as Mr. Chapu. 7 2 and 3. 2 and 5.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
Okay.
3 and 4. 3 and 4. Tripita Takadani. 3, 4, 3, 4 தான் கொடுத்திருக்கோம். Triputa கொடுத்திருக்காது. They would have mentioned as Triputatala.
Okay.
Notationல பார்க்கறச்சே 3, 4, 3, 4 subdivision தான் இருக்கும்.
Oh, okay.
I understand is the Triputatala is the customary given tala for this kriti. Since they have learned in this Mr. Chaputala, they have notated in the same fashion. This is what I
because I think except for the padams, I don't see much. At least Tyagaraja Swami kritis, mostly I see them singing only in Mr. Chapu, right? Very.
Yes, Tripura over there. Even Nidichala Sugama, the Valajapur version is there in Tripura.
Oh, okay.
So Mr. Chapu, it's not that they are not aware of Mr. Chaputala. They were aware. It is also given, but it in manuscripts. I mean,
yeah, I understand. What I meant is that the current practice seems to be most of the kritis are in Mr. Chapu. Okay.
இதுவா இருக்கும், attractive இருக்கும். With respect to Nadai, we do not know because the notations do not mention about Nadai. It mentions.
Okay.
So I am unable to say authoritatively on the Nadai variation, but Namo Namo Raghavanisham was notated by Valajapeta Ramaswamy Bhagavatar, a descendant of Krishnaswamy Bhagavatar. Sister Nadai kuturkavar. Sister na kuturkavar. Sister Nadai.
Okay.
Oh. Since the Sister Nadai and Rupakam share 6 as common.
Correct.
Numbers same.
Yeah. You beautifully put the variations in raga and tala. Okay. Now, before I ask about that, about Sahitya itself, so I just go back to Suresh's request. Why don't you sing Purvi Kalyani version at least?
No, Puri. Actually, the thing is that I stopped singing the common version.
You don't want to submit the Bhagini. Okay, you don't want to do it. But
okay, why not sing some other version which probably you learnt or at least which you have seen in the manuscripts? Any kriti that you like?
Yes, that is possible because I'm unable to focus on these two versions.
Okay. No problem. I understand. Yeah.
We have a lot of musicians who sing the new versions.
Correct.
No problem. You can go ahead.
I've stopped singing this.
Yeah, please sing any other song which you have seen in the manuscript.
I will sing a kriti, common Samajavargamana.
Okay.
But there's a variation there.
Yeah.
This is.
Okay, I will just skip this. I will just sing some other thing. Because this variation is, though it is very mild, it carries a lot of significance. Again, we say Tyagaraja school, Diksha school. This is another example is like Lalita, wherein both of them have employed the same type of raga prayoga. In Samajavargamana and Manasuloni, you get to see the phrase Mani Danisa. You cannot see the phrase Saga Madha Danisa. Saga Madha Nisa. Before Samani Kamaja Suda, the common version. Here, Samani Kamaja Suda Manida, always Manida.
Oh, I see.
So Sagamada Nisa, you cannot find the phrase Sagamada Nisa. You always see the phrase Sagamani Nisa or Sani Nisa can be there. Sani Nisa will come, but not the straightforward Sagamada Nisa.
Okay. So there's always a Vakra Prayoga.
Yes, the Hinduism was also handled similarly by both of these contemporaries. I will sing a rare composition. This is Raga Takka.
Raka Sashivadana. Okay.
Again, this is a much historic value because it's one of the few compositions which are able to find the original version.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Niga Gunamugaradavani Kanta Karuna Swantala Kasashi Padanayuta Paraka Nigete Musukundu Panuchunuba పిల్చుచును నేను నీ పద సేవ చేసితి మహానుభావ త్యాగరాజుని దోరక శశివదనాయిం తపరాయక. This is one Kriti.
Wow.
And have you heard the Kriti Pahi Ramaduta?
Yeah. Pahi Ramaduta, that also has this two, right? One Shadvida Margini and another Veera Vasanta.
அங்க என்னதுன்னா வசந்த வராளி. அங்க என்ன
Vasanta
ப்ராப்ளம்னா
Varadi, yeah.
we see Sadvita Magni version properly labeled as Sadvita Magni version.
Okay.
We frequently see the labeling as Vasanta Varali, but it is sung in Sadvita Magni only.
Oh, okay.
But the Vasanta Varali version, actually Vasanta Varali was a janya of is a janya of Natabhairavi, and this Kriti too almost unanimously have the same version.
Oh, I see.
The Vasanta Varali version, which I'll be singing now, is almost the same throughout the traditions,
I
everywhere.
see. Oh,
This
okay.
Kriti I have not seen in Malayalam transcripts, some other source, but wherever I have seen this Kriti in Vasanta Varali version, it's going to be almost same. We find very few differences, much negligible. Almost the same. I'll just sing few lines.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pahi Ramaduta Jagat Prana Kumara Mam Pahi Ramaduta Jagat Prana Kumara. This is almost the same across the traditions. So we also have few kritis which are much similar across the traditions.
I see.
Like Rama Bhakti Samrajya, Manasu Nilpa. These kritis do not have much differences. Very few differences.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rajman, you wanted to.
Yeah. No, let him sing. Let him find. Yeah, you wanted to sing one more. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I just want to give an example. If Rama Bhakti Samrajya, one version starts with Sajjam, the other version starts with Mantra Daivatam. But but apart from this change, the general structure is almost same. So we can see similar kritis also across the traditions. Few kritis have come unchanged. The kriti has not changed much. Very few changes happened.
Okay. So now that we talked about raga, variations in raga, variations in tala. Okay, is there a variation in literature also? The proper Sahitya? Is there?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. That's so surprising. Yeah.
That's rare, but we do find. For example, Raghuveera Ranadira.
Which one?
Raghuveera Ranadira.
Raghuveera Ranadira.
In Uzeni, the common version reads as Ravana, Gatakarna, Baladi, Ripu Naganagarin. In that another version, in one other edition I have seen that, which I don't remember now. The first two lines differ. That much I know.
Okay.
And one more Varadarajan Nukuri.
Varadarajan Nukuri. Yeah.
That Kriti has an additional line. Usually the Sahitya is Varagiri Vaikuntamata, Varnimpa Taramugadata, Nirjalanu, Tarakamualo, Chandudai Melayuvata. This is Sahitya. In Balajavat version, Varagiri Vaikuntamata, Varnimpa Taramugata, Marudu Shikuse Mantara, Marudu Shikuse Kuntaragata. That's the additional line.
Okay, now you talk about the additional line. I want to ask you one thing. When I heard, I think Pantula Rama, I heard sing Samajaragamana. I heard one extra para in the Charanam, one additional. Have you heard this? Is that something which is you come across during your research?
I'm aware of this additional line also about addition. I not heard her singing this Kriti.
Maybe, yeah, because I remember being surprised because there's one additional line than what we normally hear. Okay, as you said. So there are Sahitya
sorry.
variations also. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now that you mentioned that's okay. That is a surprise. There are variations in literature also. Okay. And then see, when we talk about when we talk about Tyagaraja, he is a more very complete composer. Okay, but going by the time in which he lived, okay, did he compose kirtanas that he sang meanwhile he was in a temple? And then probably in some ecstasy, he must have sang some of the, I mean, like which extempore, on their own it came. And there are some which he sang along with the disciples during, okay, exchange or training or anything. Do we have any such segmentation in Tyagaraja, like what we find in many other composers?
Frankly saying, we do not have a good biography of Tyagaraja Swamigal other than the one written by Venkata
This
Bhagavatar and Krishna
yeah.
Bhagavatar. They have written, T.S. Pathasari has translated this Telugu work into Tamil in his book. What I can feel is there many of his compositions were sung extempore. Many of the compositions, but he has also composed few compositions, or I cannot say few or many, some compositions uh, in a much planned manner. That is also possible because I can I get to remember only a single reference from his Kriti as an internal evidence. In the Saveli Kriti, he just says, along with Bhagavatas, he sings, and he should sing the raga Sri Raga. He says, to please Hari. Samsara Rete. And the partner soldier, Sri Raga the partner soldier. And he has composed it in Saveri. But he should sing the Sri Raga to praise Hari. And his, I think, Koluva Marakata, it was his routine. What he does, he just get up in the morning, Vego Jamuna, with the tambura, he plays.
Mudduga Tambura Bhatti, yeah.
Explain about his puja, as puja procedures as explained. So many of his compositions were composed on some occasions when he was not feeling comfortable with or much happiness whatsoever it is, but definitely he could have composed many kritis in a much planned manner. And what I have read is this was reported by Umayyapuram Krishna Bhagavatar and Sundara Bhagavatar to C.R. Srinivasa Iyengar. What happened is that his brother, there was a problem with his brother.
Correct.
And his brother physically assaulted him, and he went into a state of unconsciousness. That time he had a vision of Sri Ramachandramurti, and he says, why are you worrying? Why should you get worried? He is not beating you. I am the one who is taking all the physical tortures. And he gave him the Tambulam to Tyagaraja Swamigal, and this was narrated by Tyagaraja Swamigal to Krishna and Sundara Bhagavatar. It was recorded. So what I feel is, in the Vailam Kuda compositions vandirukum. And Anyayam Sekura, again a Kriti, in Kapi, that Kriti has a reference. Natimi Prayamuna, Na Purvaju Bhada Tirpaleda.
Correct. I think same thing. I think he had a court case against his brother or something like that, and then he's supposed to have composed Nadupai Palikeru Narulu.
That has got a lot of internal references.
Correct.
That is a good.
No, that is okay. That is fine. That is given. Many of them are very explicit, but some did he come for example, when he sing in ecstasy, it's possible some compositions were like that. Probably they were set to some tune by along with the disciples later. Yeah. But in those cases, there cannot be any variations among the schools of disciples. There should not be, right? When in a phased manner.
Ideally, to our knowledge, we don't know that his kritis were tuned by his disciples in his presence. Because he himself, it seems few disciples approached him to compose Chitaswara and he has given permission. This is one view. In some cases, we also read that he never even encourages to add even a Chitaswara. He does not like anyone to add Sangaris to his kritis. This was recorded by Chittaswami Mudigar.
Yeah.
He does not allow. So what if during his presence, his kritis were not tuned. But as I have said earlier, many kritis were not known to all the disciples. They could have got some Sagitya, but not the Sangeeta. In that case, they were all retuned. But not in his lifetime, after his lifetime. Many were retuned.
Yeah, that is given. That is
For
given.
example,
No, my question was something, like, okay, there are variations in raga, there are variations in tala among various sampradaya or traditions of various disciples. That is possible. When you do in a phased manner, yes, Tyagaraja must have set in a tune, and then those people have noted down and probably discussed, and probably even is a part of evolution of the music, we can say. But when he sings something in frustration or something like that, that should mean, I feel that there should not be any variation in the raga tala when it came to when it went to various seshyas. Is it not?
See, ideally, being it a frustration or happiness, it has to be recorded as it was.
Correct.
Mood should not interfere the student to change the kritis.
Yeah.
This is what I was keeping on saying. We do not know the kritis learned by each and every single disciple. At least Vadajapat disciple, we have a corpus. At least these kritis were learned by him or his son. The kritis which are available in transcripts, we can definitely say they were learned by either Venkatara Bhagavatar or Krishna Sami Bhagavatar. But this is not the case with Tilastha Ramayangar or Umayyavam Krishna Sundara Bhagavatar. Krishna Sundara Bhagavatar didn't even notate the compositions. So what happened as time went on, many kritis were retuned, one. And second thing, many were changed to suit the Kacheri format. This also happened. And three, later, many musicians also added Sangaris. And four, when the raga get changed due to any which reason, even the kritis which were composed in that raga were changed. Example is Balahamsa. This takka. This takka, I do not know the present versions. The Saranam starts with Panchama. The Panchama is Alpaswara and takka. But how come a composer of the stage of Tyagaraja Swami could even start a charana with Alpaswara? He will not start. But now we hear only the version which starts with Panchama.
Yeah,
so that could have
a more popular example would be that of Aberi, right?
Yeah.
Aberi is a different issue.
Yeah, okay.
But at least we should be thankful to Subrahma Dikshidhar, because without Subrahma Dikshidhar, we could have not even learned about this Raga Takka. The Raga Takka, Indra Vasanta, all these ragas, no chance. We should really eternally thank Sri Subrahma Dikshidhar for giving us this priceless treasure of his text and Sampradaya Padashim. Aberi is different. Aberi, Nagumomo Kriti. Nagumomo Kriti, it is mentioned as Gantaravam in Vadajapat transcripts. Gantaravam. And I am unable to trace the music of Vadajapat disciples. Because the problem with Vadajapat disciples is that many were centered around Vadajapetai, Velur.
Oh, okay.
On the side. They never came Ambur. They never came to Chennai. And we don't know, I'm even unable to trace any of the Vadajapat disciples.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was able to trace.
Yeah.
Manava Chaudi, yes, able to trace, but not at all Vadajapat disciple. That's difficult.
That's a very, sad thing, yeah.
And so Gantaravam mean தெரியாது. So Nagumomo, the version learned by Vadajapat disciples, is not available to us at this point of time.
Okay.
We must get their blessing to learn. But this was first notated, I think, first.
Suresh, we are almost
as.
Yeah, please go ahead, finish that. Then we will
finish that, because we are just almost running out of time.
Running out of time.
Yeah, you can finish your thought. You finish your thought about that.
Please.
About this Nagumomo.
You could not
leave them.
So this
Hey, it's fine. Rain, you finished it. You
Yeah,
finished.
go
This
ahead.
Nagumomo was
Hmm.
actually there's a time lag between your
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
voice. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I see
in
that your
communication.
internet is not
Uh,
stable. Yeah.
so there is a version which was published in the year 1911. Nagumomo, a disciple of Manumichawadi lineage, disciple of Pattan Subramanian, has published this Kriti, wherein he has given Abiri as a journey of Kalahapriya. So it should take actually that to higher the rhythm, which is much similar to Devagandharam. The
Correct.
common Kriti is Panchashit Rupin, or the Nagum which we hear today. This version was given by him in 1911. Uh, so can we take the version learned by Manavacharya Venkata Subbayar had higher Devata? We do not know. And
Okay.
I was able to see a version of Nagumomo in the manuscript of Dr. Srinivasaran. I should thank Dr. Chandan, who's he's a descendant of Srinivasa Raghavan, who has allowed me to produce the manuscripts of Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan. And it starts with Padani Dapa. Nagumomo ganane neen hajali తెలిసి in my Rigama Gamapa Rigama alone. How
Oh,
can a
God.
saga Parisa Varache Rigama, how can it be allowed?
Hmm.
Paramudia. So it could be a different raga. It could have been composed a different raga. That possibility is there. We
Okay.
believe it to be a Aberi. I mean, but this is not Aberi. Aberi is the old Aberi
This
is
is a Veena berry. Hmm.
Aberi. Sagama Panisa எடுத்துக்க முடியாது. அது Aberi எடுத்துக்க முடியாது. Because I have given few examples to say that how Tyagaraja Swamigal has followed the same traditions of Dikshithar. அப்படி இருக்கிறச்சே Abiri alone will not take it from Sangaracharaman.
Yeah.
Basically, he has taken few scales, but those scales were not mentioned in any of the earlier texts. அந்த மாதிரி கதை அனுமதி எடுத்துருக்காரு காப்பிராணி கேசரி மாதிரி எடுத்துருக்காரு. But otherwise, the old ragas like Takka, Lalita, Madhavasri, Hamid Kalyani எல்லாமே வந்து முன்னாடி இருந்ததுக்கு அதான் எடுத்துருக்காரு. யமுனா கல்யாணி எல்லாமே அப்படிதான்.
Okay.
We cannot take this Abiri alone from Sangraha Chudamani and construct this. So what
Okay.
is the original version of Nagumomo?
Okay. So yeah,
Suresh,
yeah. So
Suresh,
let's yeah.
Suresh, whatever that some other things we should have
Hmm.
discussed, like one
Hmm.
very small reference I made, temple tradition, whether he composed all those things. I think we can ask him
Correct.
when we do it with the Bhajana
Correct.
Sampradaya or Bhagavata tradition.
Yeah.
When we are doing that episode, we can invite Aravind
Bhagavad
and
Mela. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that we can do that at that time. Yeah, please, Suresh, you
Yeah.
please
I
continue.
think so. Yeah. Definitely yes. Yeah. Okay. Let me conclude here first by thanking Dr. Arvind.
I have an answer. He has composed in various temples like Kovur, Tiruvattiur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely there
Sri
are
Rangam.
Christian
Yeah.
temples only. Srirangam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we can discuss in our next
Next.
episode when we do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Okay. Let me conclude first by thanking Dr. Arvind for taking his time and talking to us. It was a very illuminating talk on how compositions somewhere just 250 years back could morph and various schools could have different the different versions of the same composition, and as Arvind also pointed out, within the same school over a period of time how things could change. Some of them could be natural, like adding more sangatis, but some of them could be different, as Dr. Arvind has pointed out, maybe to suit the kacheri format, like a Jampa Tada becoming Kanda Chapu, right, and a Triputa becoming Mishra Chapu type of a change. But what is more interesting is the complete raga changes, like from Puri Kalyani to Shadvita Maragini. How did they happen? Where did they happen? And some confusion in the cases like Lalita and Vasanta, which he very beautifully explained. At least he was very clear that we all got confused.
Yeah, we are always under confusion. Yeah.
But it's wonderful. It's also very nice to know the way our heritage works is on one, we can call that we don't preserve it in its original form, but at the same time, we can also say that our heritage also resembles life, the way the progress happens. Our music also has progressed in different directions, and along with it, certain changes have happened. It would have been great to have those original ones as it is, as a comparison. It's not like we want everybody to go back to the original school. At least that's not the thought in Carnatic music circles as well, that we have progressed and we progress from here. But it's always nice to know from where we started. And people like Dr. Arvind, and earlier to him, he also mentioned Dr. Rita Rajan, who had done extraordinary work in these areas. They are trying to dig out the past and trying to reconstruct what was it there, so that we understand from where we have come to this point. Because we currently know we are at this point, but we probably do not know where we came from perfectly. And this is something, a great service that all of them are, like Arvind, and there are other researchers. And Vedavalli Mami also, his guru, she has released, I know, a CD which was called Pramanam, in which she had sung these kritis to illuminate what could be the original one. As Dr. Arvind says, a very uh, a touchy topic. Depends on which school you talk to, where
Yeah.
you go. But he's tried his best to put a clear, objective view on how, and he tries to evaluate, if not authenticity, at least how closer to the Agaraja it is. And there cases where we can guaranteedly say, yes, this version can be considered to be an authentic version. So it's an excellent effort by him, and we wish him all the best. And as I said, he has a YouTube channel, and in that he's in what he feels could be the old versions, which is also a good source for those who are into musicology and those who want to understand our past. So, with thanking Dr. Arvind again, let us end this particular session of
As
all.
you said, our
Thank you.
music changes a lot, and it will change, and we need to accept the change. But the thing is, we also, the music can change, but the composer's original ideas are to be preserved.
Perfect. I
This,
think that's a
so this is not done to change a system. This
correct.
is not a prescription to given to the musicians to sing, or students to sing, that this is the way it is to be sung. No, this is an effort that is being taken to understand the music, our music of the past, how our
Purpose.
composers imagine, how our composers perceive the raga, and they are to be archived, at least at this point of time in this archive. So for this purpose, the channel was started, the Lost Melodies, the channel was started in 2017, and I just keep on uploading it as in I get some new versions. It includes Bharadabhat versions, the versions given by Subrahma Dikshit, other manuscripts like S. Ramasamaiyer. They were just reconstructions, and then just, as I said, we are not here to simulate how Tyagaraja Swamigal sung. It is not possible. Even this is not, no musician even says, I am singing like Tyagaraja Swamigal. My guru sings like Tyagaraja Swamigal. No, no one says. They just say, I sing like what was being taught by my guru. That must, only that much you can do. So, but what we can do is we can understand the Raga Lakshana, what was there. So for that attempt, for that this thing, idea, we just started this channel, and I thank Sri Suresh and Sri Rajmohan sir for giving me the opportunity to talk about these changes much
Yeah,
leisurely
thank
fashion.
you. Thank you, Arvind. And I think what we'll do, Rajmohan, is that as usual, we can give a
The
link
description. Yeah. Yeah.
to Arvind's channel
Last
in our
minute.
description. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
last
So let
release,
me
and also
formally
Carnatic
conclude
Research
today.
Net.
Rajmohan, last words.
Yeah, yeah. Along with the people who are watching this, you can find the
Yeah.
link
Yeah.
to the Arvind's YouTube channel and also carnaticresearch.net. We'll give it in the description. You can read it in the description. So thank you very much. Please continue to watch our series. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.